Go.
You are joining us again right here in Victoria Falls, the IAD Innovation Africa Digital Summit, and we're just going to be catching up on a lot of people who are also exhibiting, taking part of this. But more importantly today, we also do have a partner, a device partner towards this IAD and extension partner. We are joined with the Sales and Marketing Director with GTel, Mr. Robert Gonye. Sir, thank you so much for taking your time.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Doing well, sir. We understand that you're an official partner, official device partner with Extension, and also taking part of this IAD 2015 summit. Maybe if you can just get details into that and how you managed to do that, and more importantly also why you are a partner and why you would also want other people to be partnering with you towards this cause.
Thank you very much. I think key for us is why we partnered with Extension. Extension didn't have a brand that they can associate with, which is African. We are Zimbabwean, but we're African, and extension programs take place in Africa. So what better way to partner with an African brand? But key and also interesting to note is that apart from the fact that being a local device company in Zimbabwe, which has been in business for the last 5 years, we are specializing in devices and tablets, but we also said that if we are going to grow our market, which is Africa, the prime market, a lot of people had the perception that Africa is a place where you dump devices. But we wanted to change that misconception and tell people that no, in as much as China is coming on board, we want to offer and create solution offering partnerships through the devices that we create, devices that can address issues pertaining to battery, devices that can, issues that can be sorted out or solved pertaining to devices which can be lockable or traceable. Because the key thing in Africa is if you're bringing a product for Africa, it has to have the DNA for Africans. We currently in Zimbabwe just rolled out one of the latest smartphone devices which allows you to be able to charge other devices, technology called OTG with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. We're talking of a phone that gives you up to 33 hours live video streaming without the battery going dead, or 3 weeks of battery power on standby. But why are we addressing this? Because we know that we're coming from a nation where power sometimes is a challenge. So what do? We create solutions for that. So we are saying, in as much as we not only boast of having the phone which is the slimmest phone in Africa, we also boast of the phone which is the slimmest and also the first phone, a dual SIM smartphone with LTE technology in Zimbabwe. But we want to take this not only to Zimbabwe, we want to go to Zambia, Tanzania, Malaysia, and offer offerings there, because Africa is the prime market. If we address the African challenges, we are able to better cater and serve for that market. And how we do that is simply by working with MNOs. And we're also partnering with governments where we create strategies and payment solutions where government can see growth in revenues through GDP and also creation of employment, because the brand that is GTel does not necessarily mean it's a Zimbabwean brand. Yes, it's Zimbabwe now, but when it comes to Zambia, it then becomes a localized feeling brand for Zambia. And Zambia can have an appreciation of what that brand does. So our then partnership with Extension as we grow into Africa is to say, we are here for Africa. The prime market, growing Africa, partnerships with government, solving problems financially, economically, and addressing the issues that are pertinent to the home offering.
You spoke of a bespoke solution to an African continent, specifically us in African countries, Zimbabwe, or on power, this new technology, the platform. What do you call it and how exactly does it work? Maybe to just say that in details.
What it is the world's slimmest smartphone, which has 6,000 amp hours. And what this phone is operating on what we call OTG technology. It gives you the ability to use your device as a power bank and charge other devices, but at the same time run as a regular smartphone, competing the specs of the high-end market. And we also feel that if we are bringing solutions for Africa where technology is now key, we don't want to bring in feature phones. We don't want to bring in phones which are equivalent to very basic phones which do not address WhatsApp connectivity issues or even processing issues. But we want to bring in a 4-inch as a minimum basic phone. And these phones now are then the ones that can be used, be it in schools, be it in universities, be it even in the social life of the normal African.
Yes. Speaking about the kind of market that you're targeting, you also spoke about the smartphone, the first of its kind, that is LTE. In as much as we appreciate LTE and latest technology, my concerns are, do we have enough gadgets and also the technology LTE? Do you think that as Zimbabweans we are ready for such a technology? Do we have operators who are able to support the LTE technology? And do we have the devices on the market that are also ready to support the LTE technology? Because I think that these are also the parameters that we're supposed to be looking into as far as going in that direction. Is Africa generally ready for that, and can we support that technology both on the devices and on the network?
I think that's a very good question. But what we've managed to address as a brand, GTel, we say that in as much as other brand offerings bringing devices into Africa are not bringing a spec for LTE, we are going to be ready. So we do not need technology to determine how fast we move, but we need to brace technology such that when the doorway opens, the people are exposed to it. So in terms of devices, we're saying we're taking this to Zimbabwe, we're taking this to Africa, and we're saying we already have the platform for LTE. For 5K, which is the next rollout, and we're saying this is what we want to do for you, 5G, and we want this platform ready. But in as far as infrastructure is concerned, we might be a bit behind because of the high costs in development or setting up of base stations for that magnitude. But eventually, when they do roll, we want it to be accessible and easily available. Interesting to note that most of the networks right now are partnering with companies from Israel who are bringing out a new technology which can basically mesh high-end network communication of LTE through meshing, and if that is able to take place, we're saying the devices should be ready for children to communicate, because at the end of the day, what's key is you want to use a device, you want to go online, you want to stream, you want to do anything e-related, e-learning related, but that communication should not buffer. And that communication should be consistent and constant. So we then need to say whatever solution we're bringing, it has to be optimized. If the first world countries, be they as they may, are using LTE and the new technologies, what should stop us from having that same platform?
So basically we are now preparing for the future.
Exactly. And the future is, if we're not moving at par with the future, we are going to be left behind. I think gone are the days where people would look at Africa as a third world country or a third world continent or any other nation within Africa, but we're saying we want to bring up to spec and operate at the same level so that we're not left behind.
Okay. I understand that GTel, you are a locally based mobile manufacturing firm. You do face realistic, fierce competition from traditional giants like the Samsungs, the iPhones. How is this affected you, especially when you speak of market confidence? How does the Zimbabwean population view the GTel brand?
I think for us, key is appreciating that competition is healthy in any market. If you're not willing to compete with anyone, you're not willing to have a product that is worthy to be used by people. Because at the end of the day, what people are really concerned, regardless of which brand they choose or opt for, is when you provide a beautiful device, a device that has got the latest technology, a device that is user-friendly, is it solving people's problems? And our ability to remain relevant in the market, our ability to grow as a local brand, is we are providing a relevant solution and offering to the nation. Hence, when you look at brands like Samsung and iPhone, even Huawei, we have been in Zimbabwe and we've cutballed that nation for the last 5-6 years, and we've gathered a serious market share. For us to then come out and say that we are the biggest brand in Zimbabwe, interesting to note, we are selling a device every 2 minutes. It's not that we pride ourselves as being the best, but
device every 2 minutes.
Every 2 minutes.
Do you have statistics of the market share? How much do you think you've managed to gain, and how many devices there, as far as GTel is concerned? How many GTel devices do you think they're actually out there today in the market?
I think from our perspective and from our understanding, research has shown that out of every 3 people, one of them is using a GTel device. So that's interesting for us to know. And we're saying, look, some of it might be consumed locally or even regionally or internationally. But when we see that the scope and there's an increase for the device, uptake and market share, it's been an interesting confidence. And when you see how people have switched over, I'll give you an interesting statistic. In the last year alone, over 35% of our new clients who came on to GTel moved from Samsung. It means that we are managing to solve a problem, and we've managed to have confidence for the people, especially when you're given a proper guaranteed backup solution for our products after care service center. That is something that is very key for the nation.
I understand you may not be at liberty to speak figures here, but can you have probably maybe the numbers of saying, can you approximate on actual devices that you have sold since the inception of GTel? How many of those devices on the various brands do you think you've managed to push into this mobile market? Do you have numbers, statistics, or approximations?
Obviously, we've got a lot of numbers, but the key thing that I can have you know is currently we've got smart partnerships. We're working with mobile network operators. Interesting to notice, Teleson on average, we're selling in from 7 to 10,000 new lines or new subscribers coming on board since the inception of this project. And this is over and above what we are doing as an individual entity of the brand. So when you look at it, if we're able to pull between 10 to 15,000 devices a month, I think it means that we're doing something wrong. We are not yet where we want to be. We might not be the best, but I believe our steps are being ordered in such a way that we know we are doing something correct. Yes.
That's an impressive figure.
Yes.
It's an impressive figure. Okay, I think maybe just before we close this, I saw you presenting during the IAD to the delegates. I think probably the most question that you should have managed to also lay home is why should these players partner with GTel? What are the reasons? Why do you think that they should also partner with GTel? Because this is an environment where you're supposed to have those corporate partnerships. Why should they partner with you as GTel?
I think why they need to partner with us is very simple. We are prime as an African offering, number one. Number two, we want to create employment not only in Zimbabwe but in Africa. One of the greatest challenges Africa is facing is literacy levels are very high but employment is very low. So when we come into a nation, we're creating employment. What does employment then bring? Employment then brings increase in GDP, increase in revenues, and when that happens, we bring stability within the economy. And what more or how better to do it than having a local offering brand which is African to that magnitude. And that's one of the key reasons why I feel that all the nations in Africa, all the governments want to partner with us. And when we create strategies which are optimized, synthesized, creating payment solutions for government does not feel pressurized to then say, we want cash up front, but we are creating a structure for payment solutions which addresses mainly most of the major concerns that governments are facing in Africa.
Sales and Marketing Director of GTel, that's Mr. Robert Gonye. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us. Mr. Gonye, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure.
Great audience.
All right.
Hope to see you soon.
So,